Flooding rain and severe weather will be returning to the continental U.S., especially in the Mississippi Valley and Ohio Valley coming into next week. And that's what we're going to talk about in today's forecast. So, as we start off the day today, let's just review the current hazards. There's a lot of red flag warnings and wind-related warnings, advisories up to today. Basically, mostly east of the Rockies here, with dry conditions and really low relative humidities and winds that can lead to really quick fire spread here. Also, there's some freeze warnings, frost advisories in parts of the central U.S. here as well. So we need to be mindful of that today. If you're in any of these areas, I wouldn't recommend burning today. Wait till maybe it's not so dry out there, I guess, and just heed your local warnings and advisories. They may not let you burn at all if you're in one of these areas anyway. So for excessive rainfall, this is the most recent information we have from the Weather Prediction Center showing the chance of heavy rain up here along the Great Lakes going into, let's see, today's 28th, 29th, 30th, Tuesday here. So, yeah, 30, 29th, 30th, 31st. Yeah, Tuesday, sorry. Anyway, that's a marginal risk here, right? And so I prefer this compared to the Climate Prediction Center outlook because it was issued yesterday. So we're using this for now. So going to day 5, which is Wednesday, we go back down here to Arkansas, Tennessee, Kentucky. It points westward and southward to Oklahoma, towards Dallas, Texas, towards parts of Louisiana, Mississippi, with a marginal risk of excessive rainfall as well. All right, so this is the short term, 5 days. All right. And as we get further out, risk of heavy precip continues here with a moderate risk the 4th through the 5th, according to the Climate Prediction Center here. Moderate risk. Okay, so relatively good agreement and confidence here, with less confidence in the slight risk area the 4th through the 7th. And you can see here, this is echoed by the Climate Prediction Center's outlook, the 6 to 10 day and 8 to 14 day precip outlook, showing above normal precip in the central U.S. mostly here, and even more focused in the deep south in the Mississippi Valley and Ohio Valley, April 4th through the 10th, with drying conditions out west here. Of course, let me know where y'all live. I'll be happy to talk to y'all about the conditions, and let me know what's going on, because I'd like to know what people are experiencing and how dry it is and whether or not you think you'll be heavily impacted by this, especially along Mississippi River, where flooding concerns are always there, right? You have heavy rainfall running off into the Mississippi River and cause all kind of problems. So we'll have to keep an eye on this area closely in the coming days. So let's review the severe weather outlook for the next couple days. Let's see, this is Monday, right? We have a marginal risk of severe weather up here, parts of Wisconsin, uh, Minnesota, and Iowa, and points eastward to Michigan, Green Bay, Wisconsin, as a shortwave moves through this area, right? Not expecting a really high and severe weather event, but this is the beginning of a pattern change, right? And we don't have anything else outlined by the SPC right now for the coming days here along the Mississippi Valley. But as you'll see in a second, the excessive rainfall outlook and where a frontal boundary may end up stalling here could be the focus for severe weather in the coming days. We'll review that. But if you just want to know what the severe weather outlook is for the next 3 days, this is the only area of interest, at least in the short term here. And if you want to stick around for a more detailed review, I'll go over that after I outline the threats for the severe weather, like I'm doing now, and the excessive rainfall next. As far as the overall flow pattern here, this is 500 millibar flow. The European ensemble and the GFS ensemble. The European, 51 members, GFS, 31 members here. And this just gives you an overall mean of what it thinks the 500 millibar, which is mid-level heights, are. And you can see to start with this, we have a trough in the east, which is bringing cooler, drier air to the east, and high pressure at the mid-levels near the surface out west here, which is the warm conditions they've been experiencing, right? Very high pressures out here in the subtropical Atlantic, right? So we have a pretty amplified pattern here right now. In the European, we move this through to April 1st, right? Our first time frame range just here. That's a European model. And move this to the first here. Let's see, 2 a.m. Okay, so you see the trough, 500 millibar trough here, and in the Midwest. So that's where our first round of heavy rainfall could occur, right? And potentially severe weather around that time frame as well. All right, and then we have another mid-level features for forecast to move through the flow as we get through the week, and maybe some height falls ahead of it as well. All right, so let's go to Thursday to Friday. Okay, Friday, 2 a.m. European on the left here, GFS on the right, Ensemble. They pretty much agree. The depth of the trough and other things is, devil's in the details at this point. But overall, a pretty good agreement about a trough developing into the end of next week and swinging to the east here. All right, that's the European Ensemble, the GFS, which is the American model, April 6th. Wants to amplify this trough a lot more. Let's see, that's 5 a.m. Let's go. This doesn't have 5 a.m., but a much deeper trough according to the GFS here. And the European wants to keep this high pressure further closer to the east here. All right, so some differences there, but what does it mean? Especially for this area east of in the Mississippi Valley. We'll review the rainfall total forecast next, and also go over the severe weather briefly as well. So as we get into the first part of next week, you can see where the highest precipitation totals are located on the map here out west and in parts of the mid-Atlantic, northeast, and upper Midwest here, but not overall, not a lot of moisture, at least right now, okay, as of 31st, right? Pretty dry up till then. So this is a national blend of models. This is the National Weather Service official forecast precip totals, right? So we get into April 1st here. We see a bullseye in here down to Shreveport, St. Louis, Missouri, down toward Dallas, and up into the parts of the Great Lakes here, maybe parts of the Northeast corridor as well. Mid-Atlantic staying dry, Southeast still dry here, and some more moisture along the West Coast, okay? And as we go through time, you see these totals really increase going Saturday, Sunday into Monday. All right. Particularly in, let's see, zoom in here a little bit, in parts of Arkansas. But overall, maybe up to 5 inches, at least prod by the models right now. Even into Atlanta and Montgomery, Jackson, Shreveport, Dallas, we could get some heavy precip, right? That's more towards the end of this event, as the front may side to the south here. And out west here, of course, we have an onshore flow, which is bringing more precip to the air as well. All right, so and now let's go through Wednesday, April 8th. This is roughly 10 days from now. Here's your bullseye of heavy precip in the deep south, Mississippi Valley, Ohio Valley here. And this will probably change in the coming days as the forecast is refined here. But that's, I think this is the best gauge for overall consensus about the rainfall totals as of today. Now, we can't get specific about these totals at this range, right? Because it's just too far out. But this gives you an idea about where on the map, at least in general, where the heaviest rainfall is predicted to be as of today into like next week. All right, so going back reviewing Tuesday, Wednesday, into Thursday, into Friday, into the weekend is where we get our heaviest moisture in the deep south, Mississippi Valley, and Midwest here, and out west along the west coast. Moving on to the severe weather possibilities here. Now, I like to show this. This is a 500 millibar relative vorticity, which is mid-level spin in the atmosphere, okay? And this is Tuesday, March 31st, which is around the time frame of the first chance of marginal risk severe weather here, okay? Let's put this up on the map so you can see it. You see right here is that marginal risk, okay? Short wave glancing blow really here with maybe a frontal boundary pushing through here, which could bring some precip. Now, let's look at this real quickly here on the radar. All right, so could have some severe weather as the surface low deepens and move to the north here, and maybe some snow and frozen precip on the north side of this, but mostly staying um, north of the continental U.S. Okay, overall, maybe some severe weather here. Let's take a look at a couple severe weather parameters with this. Mixed layer cape, which is one of the parameters we look at in the atmosphere for instability, right? So there's plenty of stability here in this area, right? Is that low pressure deepens here and brings moisture up from the south. Let's look at the dew points real quickly here. That gives us a good idea of moisture. Not overly impressive, 50s and 60s, but maybe just enough for severe weather up here. Likely a wind and hail risk, but we'll refine that also in the coming days. Let's see here. Well, briefly, I'll touch on this too. This is the GFS model showing the possibility of supercells here in this area. Um, we'll see if this plays out, but it's pretty marginal conditions up here. Maybe a hail risk or wind risk here with these this convection possibly moving through. I don't really know if this is relevant enough to really worry about. You see surface-based cape is pretty high as well here, so the possibility definitely exists here for severe weather. But with the temperatures being marginal, surface-based convection is not looking like it's going to be too likely at this point. So we'll have to keep an eye on this and refine the forecast in the coming days with this event. Going a bit further out towards the middle part of the week and into the weekend. This is Tuesday. These surface-based cape values, which means instability of the atmosphere, move further to the east here where this boundary is setting up. So with some bullseye here in the Ohio Valley once again, generally focused along the frontal boundary here, okay? Multiple rounds of surges of moisture here, all right? And we'll look at dew points with this. Dew points are warm enough here, but one of the things that we got to consider here is if the thermal profiles and the moisture is saturated through the column. And what does that mean? Let's take a look at a sounding real quick of the atmosphere, which gives us a good vertical look at the atmosphere here. So this is a sounding in that in the general area here. Let's see, like near Memphis. Let's take that. You can see a thermal profile and the moisture is pretty consistent throughout the column. Maybe a little dry air around 700 to 600 millibars. But you see the lapse rates, at least the low level lapse rates are pretty above 6 degrees Celsius per kilometer, which is good enough. Like over 6 is good for lift. You get below 6, very saturated profile throughout here. So not a lot of lift potential above that. So and you see the kind of immediate photograph here, not showing a lot of curvature or any kind of shear in the atmosphere here. So it's really not that impressive, right? But with a profile like this, I would expect more of a heavy rain type event, especially given the unidirectional wind profile here from the surface all the way to the top of the atmosphere. A little change in direction with height, but not a lot. So whatever that frontal boundary sets up, if we do get some vorticity on that boundary, we could potentially have some severe weather develop. We'll just have to see how it plays out. So overall, I'm not that impressed here so far, but let's go back and look at the dew points again real quickly. They surge to the north and to the east here, and eventually we get a push offshore as we get into the middle of next week. Let's go back and look at another severe parameter here real quick. Cape, no, mixed layer cape. So mixed layer cape, which we know is instability throughout the column, looks to be pretty muted as we get towards Saturday into Sunday, and then pretty much, at least according to GFS, wants to move all that offshore. So eventually we get rid of all that potential, right? And it's wanting to maybe project something further out April 10th here east of the Rockies, but that's a long way off, 10 days off or more. So got a lot of time to look into this as well and just figure out what's going on as this pattern evolves. So, as far as the threats, right? We know that I think the rainfall threat is the most important one. Okay, um, flooding rain, severe threat, not looking that impressive right now. So, rainfall can ruin people's lives just as much as severe weather, and can be a lot more widespread. So let's keep an eye on this in the coming days and see how the forecast evolves. And I'll be here to keep you informed and let you know the latest. I would appreciate it if y'all subscribe, like my channel, leave any comments, your locations, or any questions you might have in the comments in my channel. Okay? Hope you have a great day. God bless. Bye.